Is the euro doomed, Nigel Farage?
Well,
simple question.
In its current structure, yes, of course it's doomed. It was always going to be doomed. You know, if you go back just over 10 years to when the euro was launched, it was pretty obvious then that there were countries that were never, ever going to fit into that euro mould. It was obvious that Ireland, it was obvious that Greece, it was obvious that Portugal weren't going to fit it. But of course, remember that the euro wasn't launched for economics, it was launched for political reasons. And the people that support the euro are the people that want to build a new United States of Europe. They want to do it whether the peoples want it or not. They intend to impose it upon them. And there are some on this panel who, despite the catastrophe of the exchange rate mechanism in the early 1990s, still thought 10 years ago that Britain should have joined the euro. Thank goodness we didn't join the euro. That was a very, very good thing. It was a great victory for common sense, a great victory for public opinion. But I'm afraid what has happened in Ireland this week is no more than a sticking plaster over the problem. I've no doubt that it'll be Portugal next. It may be Belgium thereafter, my favourite country. And if it gets to Spain, if we have to bail out Spain, then remember that the Spanish economy, the Spanish debt, is 7 times that of Ireland. At that point, all the money will have run out. The euro will not continue to exist in its current form, and frankly, thank goodness for that, because these countries like Greece and Ireland are trapped inside an economic prison. What they need now desperately is to get their own countries back, to devalue and to get back to running their own economies, and the sooner it happens, the better.
Well, there are so many quotations, Ken Clarke, of what you said about joining the euro, but perhaps the best one is when you said to Tony Blair, I believe if you miss the opportunity to stay out too long, it'll do great harm to this country. Were you wrong about the euro, and is it now doomed?
I haven't changed my mind at all. Paddy and I had a lot of conversations with Tony Blair.
Still in favour?
Well, we thought he should get the referendum in principle over, but that's all under the bit. Britain's not going to join the euro now, I quite accept that. But British commentators have been forecasting, it's a feature of the British debate, sort of hangover from all our war, that they forecast the death of the euro about once every 6 months. I happen to believe that one of the things that's unlikely to happen is the end of the euro. Indeed, it's quite obvious there's a great political commitment to it. I also think that this crisis is not caused by the euro. That is my opinion. The idea the Irish would have been all right if they'd had the Irish punt and another couple of percentages on their interest rates is, in my opinion, naive folly.
But hang on, could they not have devalued and therefore solved their own problems?
They would have been devalued in a big way.
They would have been devalued, but
all these countries have gone to trouble in slightly different ways, but Ireland's really followed the path of the United States, the United Kingdom and Iceland. Banking folly and a property boom, and a belief that cheap credit could be given to everybody and there was no risk involved. And it bust Northern Rock in the United Kingdom. We were in sterling. And it's bust all 3 Irish banks, and the government, rather rashly, guaranteed the deposits of these 3 banks and the debts of these banks, and the debt is bigger than the people of Ireland can afford. That's the problem they're in, and the British keep distorting it, saying, well, it must be something to do with that euro.
So is the euro a good thing, in your view?
Would you still like to see Britain join it? It's very good for the eurozone. If the Greeks and the Irish had not been in the euro, I don't know where they'd be now, because they'd be both very, very belly up and the equivalent of defaulting Central American states in the past.
So long-term, would you still like to see Britain in the euro?
I don't. But no, this government's not going to join the euro.
I didn't ask you that. I said, would you still like to see Britain one day in the euro? I have no idea.
It's not going to happen in my day.
You have no idea whether you have an idea?
Well, no. I know what's happened. The country's acquired a fixation about the euro, and the idea
it was you that had a fixation about it.
If we have some bad weather this weekend, Nigel will say it's because of the euro. And you will not persuade people to join it. I have given up believing that I will live to see the euro. The economic case of the euro is a single market actually works better if you have a common means of exchange and you don't have wild exchange rate fluctuations between trading partners. Now, it's the only genuine argument about the euro, and people I very much respect disagree with me very strongly, is were we convergent enough in our economy to join, or were we so different that we couldn't? You can debate that for hours, not here, but it's irrelevant. It's not going to happen. We're not going to join. We must rescue Ireland. It's a friendly country. We have a land border, very important.
All right,
our economies are integrated.
We talked about that last week.
We'll get a great deal of trouble if the Irish economy goes down.
Gloria De Piero.
Yeah, this is not about the euro. This is about the failure of the banking system. Yeah. And if anybody needed any evidence about that, then look at the difficulty that we're in. We're not in the euro. America and Iceland, obviously, of course. Now, for me, this is not, Nigel, I disagree with you. This is not a political project. This is not about it. I don't want a united states of Europe.
Everybody in Europe that wants it wants a state of Europe. Of course they do.
I don't. But I'll say one thing for Gordon Brown as well. We took a hard kind of look at the economic facts and he ruled it out because it wasn't in the interests of British workers. Now, if at some point in the future we look, and if it does become in the interest of British workers, of course we should look at it again. And that, Nigel, even if it was in the interest of British workers, you would say no.
Gloria, giving away control over interest rates and your own economy is a stupid thing to do, and it's something that tens of millions of people are regretting over Europe.
So let's... The man there, the grey tie. I'll come to you, Benjamin. Yeah.
Gloria, if Gordon Brown had taken a good look at the economic facts, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Paddy Ashdown, since I quoted his remarks to Ken Clarke, I quote yours to you. I believe the result of entering the euro would be immediately beneficial to the Chancellor in his predicament and to the country. Lower pound, lower interest rates, more inward investment, real boost to government standing in Europe. 1998. Do you withdraw all that now in the light of what's happened?
Absolutely not.
You're still in favour of going into the euro?
That isn't what I said, David, and you must not play the old trick of putting words in my mouth. Look, let me just say one or two things, if I may. The first is that, Nigel, without a doubt, you add greatly to the gaiety of the nation. But you do talk some absolute rubbish, I've got to say to you. I mean, look, the idea that this country would benefit from the collapse of the euro, which Nigel proposes, is absolute rubbish.
I didn't say we benefit.
Well, hang on a second. If the euro collapses, as you want and predict, you know, I think this country will struggle its way out of the present economic crisis, absent external factors which now disrupt that. One of those is the slow growth of the American economy. The second is the collapse of the euro. Now, you may wish for it, but let me tell you the consequence for this country would be very grave indeed, and it would be costing hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of jobs. I don't want this to collapse. Nigel may do for political reasons. I do not for the best interest of this country. Second point I want to make to you is this. I really think that Nigel and the Daily Mail's premature triumphalism is frankly very premature. We are still in this queue. Thank God we are now further back in the queue than we would have been had the coalition not taken the very tough decisions that they've taken. But we're in the queue. We may be now not right up front with Ireland and Greece, as we would have been, but we're now a little behind, I guess, Spain. If it gets down that far, it comes to us. And the fact we're not in the euro is not going to protect us. Now let me just go back, if I may, and say what would have happened if we'd joined the euro in the 1998, when I proposed it, and Ken was in favour of it too. This is what would have happened. We're not a small economy. We're a large economy. We're not Portugal and Greece and Ireland. We're Germany and France. And by the way, the disciplines of the euro meant that they were not able to inflate their economy in the way that we did, so debauching our currency. What Nigel's arguing for is the right to continue to debauch the British economy and to get ourselves out of difficulty by inflating and by devaluing the value of our currency. Not by doing what Germany's done, which is increasing our productivity. I just want you all to think... Well, hang on.
Well, they don't say hang on to me.
Hang on, let me just...
Hang on, Paddy Ashdown. I have to give a fair share to every member of the panel, and I can't let you make 3 or 4 points already. So if you bring your remarks to a close, we'll have a chance to speak again later.
With this sentence. Germany and France did not go down as far as we did into this recession, and are coming out of it sooner and stronger. That's where we could have been if we'd have taken that decision in 1997.